Hi, my name is Haley. I'm here with Wild Hand, and today I'm going to be showing you how to work your German short rows. They sound very scary for beginners, but they're actually super simple. I'll be using these Leica straight needles, and for my yarn, I'll be using two colors of this Kelborn Woolens Germantown. I've started this little stockinette swatch just to show y'all how to work the short rows, but you can do them over any type of ribbing, texture, or whatever. I'm going to make my turns around here somewhere. And just so that you can see what's happening, I'm going to work the short rows in this bright blue contrast color. And you'll see how it kind of makes a curve because you're only working a certain part of the row. So you'll start by working towards whatever marker or stitch count that your pattern or whatever you're knitting tells you to go to. So I'm just going to go ahead and knit to about 2 stitches left. And this is going to be my last stitch before I turn around. So I'm just going to work that stitch as normal. I'm going to knit it. And then I am not going to work these 2 stitches on the side here. I'm just going to go ahead and turn my work. So you use German short rows when you want to work a section of the row without having to work the entire thing. And to do so, we need to be able to change directions without leaving a big hole right here. And that's where the German short row comes in. It's how we're going to work this stitch. So there's a lot of ways to work short rows, but the German short row version is going to be how we work this first stitch right here to avoid the hole. So I'm going to slip my needle in purlwise, and then I'm going to pull my yarn over the needle and then back under the needle, and I pull it really tight. When you look under here, you can see that the blue yarn is making like a little twist, and the orangey coral yarn is now pulled over, and it looks like there's 2 stitches on the needle, but it's really just that one kind of folded over the needle. So that is why it's called our double stitch. So we've created our double stitch, and I'm just going to go ahead and purl back to the other side where we want to make our next turn. So I've left 2 stitches here on the end to mirror the other side, and we are ready to make our next double stitch to start our second German short row. So I'm going to turn my work around and untangle these yarns real quick. There we go. And then I'm going to slip this stitch, but instead of slipping it purlwise, like we did on the last row, we are actually going to slip this one knitwise. And the thought process behind this is that we want the working yarn, when we're looking at the needle kind of tip down, we want the yarn to be flowing over the needle kind of seamlessly. And so if we were to slip this stitch off the needle knitwise, then we would have this little twist underneath the needle, which would cause a lot of issues when we try to bring our yarn around and over to make the double stitch. So we want to slip this one knitwise. And if you're working combination and your stitch is mounted this way, then again, knitwise. And if you get confused, just peek and make sure it's going over the needle evenly. So now we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to pull our yarn back to front. Again, nice and snug. You want to pull pretty much as tight as your yarn will allow you to. So if you're working with thinner yarns, obviously they might snap more easily. So do be cautious, but pull it as snug as your yarn will allow. It really helps make things neater at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and work a couple more rounds of short rows so I can show you how we resolve these double stitches to make everything look really seamless. Okay, so this is our current situation. You can see with the blue, I have a couple of double stitches on either side, and I'm going to go ahead and make this last double stitch. I knit combination, so this looks purlwise, but for me this is actually knitwise. So I'm going to go ahead and slip this stitch and bring my yarn on over to make my double stitch. Then I'm going to knit across super duper fast. And then when I get to my last stitch before the first double stitch we created, I'm going to take a quick second to just kind of zoom in on what we're looking at. So you can see the double stitch itself. It kind of looks like there's 6 stitches here, but there's really just 3. And you can see that they kind of slope down because we've worked more fabric in the middle than we have on the outside. So to seam these up so they can look nice and even, we're going to come in front of this X. So if I stretch this open a little bit here, you can see that this one stitch kind of has this little knot in the middle and it looks like an X. I want to come under both legs of those X's like this. I'll try to show you from all angles just to see what that really looks like. So it looks like you're knitting two together kind of, but you're not, and then you just knit it. So it'll look like one long stitch on one side and two stitches on the other side, so it'll be a little uneven looking, but it's supposed to look that way. You did it correctly. And when the fabric is complete, it'll look really seamless compared to other short row methods. So again, we're going to come to the front and knit all the way through both of those legs, a long one on one side and two short legs on the other. And then with the two colors, you can kind of see more easily what's really going on, but that's what it'll look like. And then from there, you just finish the rest of your row. So I'll go ahead and turn around and show you how to resolve the ones on the purl side. But first, if you take a look here, you can really see what the short rows do to help shape. So because I have a straight needle, it's holding everything towards the top. In reality, this orange part is straight and the blue part is the curve, but it gives you an idea. So you definitely need to be conscious of where your double stitches are, regardless of what side of the fabric you're on, but I always find that I make more mistakes on the purl side. As you can see here, this kind of looks like two stitches, and when you come to the front, that's when you see that little knot to see that it's actually a double stitch. So just be mindful because if you work just one of these legs by itself, it'll mess up the whole double stitch. So be mindful of where your double stitches are. And on the purl side, in order to resolve these double stitches, we're going to do essentially the same thing, but instead of purling through the front two legs, we're actually going to come around as if we're purling through the back loop, but you want to make sure you come through both of those legs, like so. And then as you can see on the front, you have one long leg with two little legs on the other side, kind of mirroring what we saw on the knit side. So again, another double stitch. We are going to come around to the back, come under both of these legs, and pull up. And that's all there is to it. If you come in through the front and you try to purl it this way, it does a little twisty action and you can see that it's not quite as crisp. So that's why you want to be sure to come through kind of as if you're purling through the back loop. I'm not sure the science behind this. I've just found that this is the neatest, like prettiest way to work the purl side double stitches. And there you have it. You now know how to work German short rows. You can do any type of shaping under the sun without fear. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for all of our future tutorials.